So, are we going to talk about it?
What?
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
Mom's new job.
Can you talk about the struggle of getting the incredible sequel going after almost 14 years?
Well, there was never any resistance to it financially. The easiest thing to get made is a sequel to a successful film.
And there was desire. It just
the notion, the primary story notion of the film I had when we were on the road publicizing the first movie. And I knew also that we had, that the audience knew about Jack's multiple powers, but the family did not. So I knew that Jack was going to be a major character in any new iteration. I knew I was always interested in returning to this world because the most fun I've ever had making a movie was the first Incredibles. And it was just finding a story that would hold up and have work on more than one level, you know. Like I said, I had the core idea a while ago, but finding the right villain story was hell. I mean, it was really hard.
Yeah, that doesn't really come together until the story arc for the family comes together often, because that's built around what's
even in the
happening
first
with them.
movie.
Yeah.
I came up to Pixar, and it was the only film that really has come into Pixar with the characters' design and the plot figured out, and you know, usually it's developed in Pixar. But even then, when I came up, I had a different villain. And in exploring an alternate opening that we ultimately didn't use, we wound up with the villain character. I came up with a villain to kill, and I did in the opening sequence. And then everybody kind of looked around and went, this is kind of a cool villain, you know, he's kind of cooler than the one that we have. And I went, he is, let's make him the villain. And that's Syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it awkward or difficult at all getting back into the headspace of these characters after almost 15 years?
I don't know. I think that because Brad Bird so knows the story, he's so on the inside track, it's such a private kind of dialogue that he has with his characters, with his movie, that there was something, he just engenders a lot of confidence. Plus, we had the first movie to kind of, I mean, when I saw the first movie for the first time, I was so shocked at the power of it and how funny it was. It was just so funny and so human. And I loved the characters. I felt moved by the characters. So that kind of confidence that he engenders in all of us, I think, you know, made it easy to have entree into this second one.
Yeah, I mean, well, he just knows what he's doing. He's got the sound, he's got the words there, and he knows what he wants to hear.
Yeah.
And then he's got John Walker to back him up, and then these great sound engineers that are getting the quality they want, and it's, you know, it's a pretty easy deal because you've got the only difficult part I think for me, too, was the space and time. I mean, there's certain elements and rhythm that you've got to fit within. And sometimes they get a little hard, you know, because there isn't that time for a beat there. But then again, you don't need it, but you don't hear that.
Was there any concern that fans wouldn't really or don't want to see a film after 14 years, like the
I never got that feeling because every time I went out and did press for one of my other films, they'd go, "When are you doing a cut of us?" Yeah. And they said it just that way. Really smart people, they'd be erudite, and then suddenly they would go, yeah, and so, yeah, here we are.
So yeah, there was no concern about
Okay.
that.
No concern.
No concern.
That's good. Was it exciting that your roles were kind of reversed in this film, that you got to go out and be super and you got to stay home with the kids?
Well, I think that, you know, one of the things that the first movie kind of explores and kind of tests the shape of is, can you be who you are? Can you be who you really, really are? Like when Dash wants to run as fast as he can, and we tell him to, like, chill, you know, hold back because it's not legal. That illegal, legal line that Brad is kind of flirting with in both movies. I think that it's just really fun to get to see Elastigirl be everything, and with abandon. And I in a way, I think that, Mr. Incredible gets to be a true, full-hearted dad. He sees how ambitious he actually is. He's got a hidden ambition for being a great father. So I love that Brad exploits those two, the differences in the roles.
When the first Incredibles came out, it was 2004. It was kind of the infancy of superhero films, and now they are just everywhere.
That's right.
Did that change the way you saw the sequel at all?
I had the idea, as I said, when we were doing the first film. So that was always in. The Helen and Bob role switch was an old idea that I had dating back to pushing the first film. It actually kind of took some gas out of my tank when I thought about doing this one. I thought, well, there's so many superhero movies now. Excuse me. Do I really, think that people are going to want more in 2 years? It's going to get worse. Why would they want more? And then I thought, really. And I also thought this superhero field is all dried up and gopher holes are in it, and there's just only little patches of grass. It's mainly a dried up dirt pit with a few things, And I thought, what new can I find here? And then I thought, well, really, our first film was not a superhero film as much as it was about a family. And they happen to have superpowers. And once I thought of it that way, which is what really got me enthused about the original idea, it suddenly became fresh and open because family, to me, is endlessly explorable. And then it became fun, and it was like, when do we start this thing on the road, huh?
You have powers! Yeah, baby!